this computer and got sound and we're ready to go. This is the second part of this week, and I did a screencast there, as I mentioned, for today, part one. Okay, and I promised you later this evening that I will go ahead and do a part two, which is what this is, which is what this will be. And I want to revisit a couple of processes that I talked about in part one, and that had to do with this idea of algorithmic thinking. And if you watch that first, when you watch the first screencast, you're going to see that we had to create a series of expressions, and how I took the expression, the core of it, which I took the units in stock and the units in cost, and I developed pretty much the same expression. I just inserted the dimension, i.e. the model. And so I wanted you to see that. Now, I'd also had mentioned, I had a file down in my file I was working with, and I mentioned a couple of other files that I want that you can use to upload for Lunch's database 18. Okay, and so let's go over and take a look at those files. All right, and this, pardon me, not Lunch's database. I'm thinking not Lunch's database 18. I'm talking about the Abraxas case. Sorry there. And what we had done is we had used we developed the Abraxas import. We'd taken the SQL database, okay, and we imported this Excel file into it to create the whole, to accomplish what they asked us to there in building out the table, okay? Now, again, when we build a table, all right, remember that, and we're talking about the access database case 3. Let me just turn over there. It's Abraxas Office Furniture. It's over on page 182. Remember that we can populate a table either directly, and that is typically through a form where we input data, or through importing data, and this Abraxas import is one of those. And you'll see that when you look at the first, screencast. And another way is we can append data to a table, and that's something that we would look at in another course. And that's kind of a difficult thing for the simple reason you have to make sure everything's formatted correctly, etc. Well, all of that being said, I do want to just go ahead and cover some things. And I have a case here, or an old working bit of case 3, and so I'm going to download it. Okay, it's access case 3, work in progress. All right, and this is one that I was doing some work on, and I had just started doing a little bit of work. That's why I call it work in progress. Now, here we have the Abraxas case 3 file. This is the file that had the import. Okay, this is Abraxas _ case 3. All right, and this, I'm going to close this for a minute and go back here. And as I had mentioned in the first screencast, if you want to use this ACCB 3 done, you're welcome to see it. And so, I've also got this work in progress case. So I'm going to open it up to let you look. Now, you say, why are you doing this? Well, because there's any one of a number of ways, to skin a cat. And so I'm going to open this up. Okay. And we'll take a look at that. And this one is just really working with the Abraxas file. Now, I'm going to open this up, and you'll see that I went ahead and created, all of the, I created a whole bunch of data, okay? and put in unit costs and so forth. And this is not the this is not the exact. This is not based on the exact skeleton file. So you can turn this in if you want to, and we'll look for a moment here and see how I handled task 2. So I'm gonna open this up. All right. Task 2, we were asked to find out and I'll pop this over there. The tasks for the case are over there on page 184, and we're to complete a supply bill of materials and complete the table. And then number 2 is task number 2 is one of those very, very common things where everybody has a certain type of information that they want to harvest from this database. Okay. And think of that as people who are ordering inventory this time, but the inventory is information. And then we've got task 3, and in the value in the inventory, we have that if we want. We have that for Empire. We have the units we have the units in stock. We have the unit costs, and I had created some data there and the Empire costs. Okay, and let's go down to the design view, and you'll see where again talking about this notion of algorithmic thinking. Notice how I'm using this algorithm to get the cost for each of these, and then the value in inventory. Okay? You see the Empire cost is Empire times unit cost, etc. And we'll go back up here. Now, if I want to, I can go ahead, all right? And if I want the total cost for the Empire components, it's simple. In fact, I can get totals for the following, and I'll just do that. I get the sum of the units in stock. Okay. I can get the sum of the Empire costs. I can get the sum of classical. Okay. Same thing for Craftsman. And then the value in the inventory, I can get the sum. Now, this doesn't have everything in it, but again, it's a prototype, okay, and it shows us what we've got. Now, I'm going to close that, task 2. I'm going to save it. I'll close it, all right? Now, let me make the changes there. We'll open it back up. And the nice part is now is that we do have the ability to use some of these data tools directly on a query. And so I've got everything I would need here. Now, if I was going to do any additional heavy lifting, okay, I would. And you say, well, Dr. Harmon, I looked at one, and you don't have Charleston. I understand that. That's why I said, this is one of those prototypes that I work on, because I feel like a lot of times when I show you something, there's no point in showing you 16 times. So we're going to close that off. Now let's look at task 3. Task 3 was an interesting one because in task 3, this is at the bottom of page 184, the Haney Corporation has ordered tables. Now they've ordered 5 Winston tables, okay, and they've ordered 38 Sterling tables, okay, and that's task 3. Now here we've got the Empire parts and Moderna parts, and then the units in stock, and so we need to know how much to order there. And let me look at this and see, what did I do here? Well, I'm just going to create I'm going to click create and query design, and I'm going to use that Abraxas case 3. All right, and let's see. Oh, that's right. I didn't do the Winston and the Sterling, so I'll close this off. I had not included the Winston and Sterlings in here. I was doing an abbreviated version of this case. So I'm gonna go back over here for a minute. That's right, I don't have those. So I'm gonna close that off, and I'm gonna go back to this one that I call the work in progress. And let's take a look at it. But basically the same thing there that we're doing. This is the work in progress. Now I'm going to download this. Okay. And I've got the Abraxas underscore, I've got that open. I still don't know. I don't have Sterling and the others in, so I'm not satisfied. Now, let's look at this for a minute. There's the suppliers. Okay. And I don't know where in the world I got the Haney materials report. That is strange. As I work on some of these fragments, sometimes it makes sense. All righty. Well, I know what I'm going to do here. Diminish myself down here for a sec. I'm looking fall. Let me see. Oh, here it is. Access case through. That's the one I've been working on. That's the one I was working on today. I might as well show you that. And I tried to upload this earlier, and I was unsuccessful in trying to upload it. But I can show you what we were doing. And here are all the these. Okay. Just as a by way of review. Okay. This is the same I worked on today. I'm gonna open this up, and here I have all of the components, all of the vendors, I mean, all of the models, etc. Okay, so that's really is tasks number one. That's task number one. Now, task number two, I broke into a series of tasks because they want to know about component costs. So here it is for Chapman. Now, I did it for Chapman, Charleston. I did it for every single one. Okay. The components, okay, and then I did the Charleston total cost, Classic, Craftsman, Empire. I did total cost for each of those. Okay, there's the Moderna, the Sterling, and the Winston. So I got all of those all of those costs. Now, this was from task 3, and let me show you what we're doing here. On task number 3, task number 4, this is the bottom page 184, and they wanted to find out everything they buy from Chapin Milling. So we had to run a query to identify all of those. And what I did here was I used like. Okay, then double quotes, then an asterisk, and then the letter C, and then an asterisk, then the double quotes. So I would get anything that started with a C, ended with a C. And I know that Chapman Chapin, excuse me, had a code that started with a C. Okay, and so I got all of their components. So that Chapin milling components, that's number 2. Pardon me, task number 4. And task number 3 was just a series of these total costs of materials. And if you see, here's Charleston, there's Classic, there's Craftsman, there's Empire, there's Executive, there's Moderna, Sterling, and Winston. And each of them use this algorithm. You see the design view. And that's why I talked about using some algorithmic thinking in terms of designing not only the query, but also in designing the expression. Okay, so I'm going to close that. And we'll close this. We'll close this. And that's number 4. Now, number 5, engineering design, and this is at the top, page 185. Engineering design wanted a list of the components sorted by value. Well, okay, we're going to do that. And this is the engineering request, so I'm opening it up. Here it is. And they're sorted by value in terms of the unit costs from top to bottom. Okay, and so I put that as the engineering request. All right. Now, that's number 4. Number 5. And we've done 4. That's shaping. Number 3 is all of those different materials. That's number 2. Number 3 is the Haney order. So let's look at it. And notice here it is. They want to know what are we going to be ordering? What do we need in terms of ordering, meeting the requirements of the Haney order? Okay, and you'll notice that we've got the number of components, the cost, okay, and the sterling. And let's go down here and take a look at this. Now you're going to notice that on the total Winston, it's total Winston cost is the unit cost times Winston times 5, because we're going to make 5 of the Winston tables. Now here with sterling, we're going to make 38 tables. Okay, so I'm just kind of reviewing what we did, and that gives us, and then we just simply use the totals of above for a viewing process. Okay, now so we've done all the tasks there that they've asked us to, 1 through 5, and then they come to this thing of number 6. Suggest any improvements or additions to the bill of materials. Well, we're going to look at that for a moment, okay? And let's look at this Abraxas _ case 3. Okay, and I'm going to open it up. Now notice something. I can have a lot of problems here with just simply inputting data. Okay, so how could I improve this? Well, the first thing I would do is this, is I would click create, and I'd create let's see, I think I might want to do a split form, and I'd have the Abraxas case 3, I'd have a form. Now with the form, okay, and I'm going to save this and I'm going to use some old school lingo here. I'm going to put FRM in front of that Abraxas _ case _ 3 _ FRM, meaning form. I'm going to click OK. Now with this form, this is a split form that lets me see the form itself and then data in the table. Now a form is a great improvement for this, because I can navigate from record to record, the first to the last, or record by record. I can do a free text search. I can insert a new blank record. So that's a big improvement right off the bat, because I'm making sure, okay, I have control over the input, okay, or I at least have the input in a format. I am inputting the data in a format that's a lot more intuitive. All right, and we're going to do something else here, and again, there's a lot of work we could do with this. I'm going to open this Abraxas case 3 back again, and we have kind of an issue. Now, if you look here, all right, we see the number of parts. Let's take this 2-foot strut, okay? The 2-foot strut, and that's ID number 1. And here are each of the struts that are needed for that particular model of table, okay? And then we have the units in stock, okay? Now, we know we've got, 56 units in stock of the, we know the total number of units in stock, okay? And we put that in by, and remember, we had imported this in from an Excel sheet. But I want to make sure, okay, that when I input the part codes and the part names, they're correct. So we're going to do just a lookup table, okay? Let's go down to the design view on this jewel, and let's look at the part code, okay? And we'll see in the field properties, the general and the format that it's in. Is it required? No, it probably should be. It allows it, yes. But because it's, and it says, yes, it's duplicates. And the reason that we allow the duplicates in this table is because this table is what we call a fact table. And what that means is it's a listing of stuff I can count. Or stuff attached to a day and a time. Okay, that's typically what a fact table is, a record of a transaction, or just simply a list of inventory, or a list of dates when certain things happen. We call those fact tables. Okay, so we're going to make sure that when people input the part code, that they have a nice drop down menu to do that. Okay, so I'm going to click lookup. And I'll come here and I'll click right there. It says text box. And I'm going to choose a combo box. And we did this last week. And here's the row source type is a table or query. And then I come to the third line and it says the row source. And I'll come over here to the infinity button. I'll click it. And I'm going to Abraxas underscore case underscore 3 and I'm at it. Okay. And I'm going to get the part code. And the part name, okay? And I'm gonna run it. I see the part code, part name, and do I want the unit cost or not? No, we'll skip that. So let's run this. This is the output it'll give us. Okay, we'll up here. And we're good. Now we're going to close this. Okay. Say yes. And there it is. Now, I have one bound column. The column count will be 2. And when I say bound column, think of that. And then the column count really are sub columns. And then don't have any headings, but I have 2 column counts. So I'm going to do 2 inches, semicolon, 2 inches. In fact, I'm going to do this just to make it easier on myself. I think I'm a 2 inches, semicolon, 2 inches. All right. Now, let's go up and take a peek. It'll say, do you want to save the table? Yes. Now let's look at the part code. And when you click on here, okay, and we'll do the very top one, click on it and notice something. Now scoot it out just a hair and you're going to see the part code, okay. Okay. And we also wanted the part name in there. So I've got the part code and there it is. I'm sorry. I'm tired and worn out. I'm just not thinking clearly. So I've got the part code and now here you see it. I have the drop down menu that says, okay, if it's a 3-foot strut, here's the code I use. If it's drawer casters, here's what I use. So now we've done a drop down menu for the part code. Now one of the other things we did to improve this database okay? And so we'll close that. I'll save it, yes. And one of the things we also did to improve this table, okay, and we'll move this on back over here, was to create an auto number. Now let's go down into the design view and notice that we did this when we imported the data from Excel. When you look at the first screencast, you'll see that we imported an Excel sheet, okay? And we created a primary key. We made sure that every single part, okay, had its own unique number. Now they probably do anyway, but this is a nice thing to have using an auto key for a very simple reason. I know how many parts I've got because it keeps count for me, and it won't let me save a record unless that's there. Now, I'm going to go back here and I'm going to click on the part name. You say, are you going to do another lookup table? Yes, we are. And we're going to, this time for part name, I'm going to click lookup. And then I'm going to click combo box. And I'll come down to the table query and turn this third one. Here we'll see the infinity button. Boom. And I'm going to get a Abraxas underscore case underscore 3. I'm going to add that in. Okay. Now watch what I do. This time I'm going to put the part name first and the part code second. Okay. And then I'm going to run it. And they'll close it. I'll say, yeah, I would say that. There's the SQL. Now let's go up top and say, you want to save the table? Yes. Now let's look at the part name now. And we're going to see a similar thing, a drop-down menu for the part name. Now we need to go back down here, and we need to put in the column count, which will be 2, and then the column widths will be 2, semicolon 2 inches, and then a semicolon 2 inches. And we'll save the table. There we go. And now on this part name, notice, there it is. So if I have the code, but I don't know the part name, I just look for the code, and that'll give me the part name. Isn't that nice? Those are also data integrity steps that we can take. Okay. And, you know, we could do the same thing with the part code and the unit cost, okay? And so if we have a certain part code, yeah, we can do the unit cost. So since we're going, you know, crazy here with, you know, with lookup tables, then let's do this. Let's go back down into the design view, and let's click on unit cost. And I'm going to choose a combo box. So okay, this is, we're creating some drop-down menus. Absolutely. We control the input. And click on the infinity button. I'm going to click Abraxas underscore case underscore 3, and I'm going to add that in. Now watch what I'm going to do. This time I'm going to make unit cost first. And I have a choice. I could either do part name, part code, or all 3. And I'm going to do all 3. I don't want to mess this up because I'm talking about unit cost. Now I'm talking money, so I'm going to be very cautious. So I'm going to put in the part code and the part name, and I'm going to run it. I'll say yes. Okay. I'll see what it looks like. I'll say yeah, and then I'm going to close it off. I'll be okay. Now, I have one bound column, and this time the column count is not 2, it's 3. And this time I'm going to put in column widths of 2 inches, semicolon, 2 inches, semicolon, 2 inches. All right, and I'm going to go up top, say save the table, yes. Now this time let's look at this. On unit cost, I'll have to squeeze this out a bit, okay? And when I get ready to look at unit costs, okay, I've got those data there to guide me in terms of There it is. Boy, I'm too tired to be doing this, but I'm doing it anyway. Here we go. See? There we go. So if I know the name of the part, or if I know the code, I know the price. If I know the price, I know the code, I know the name. Isn't that nice? Okay. And of course, obviously, I can do the same thing with Empire. Okay. And Classic. And what I can do is basically set them up so that the only thing you can put in there is the correct number. Now I'll show you how we're going to do that. I'm going to click back here and I'm going to go to Empire. And we have a number. And I'm going to come down here, and the default value, okay, for Empire, let's see, I'll look at this for just a minute because I got all these different components, don't I? All righty, I know what I'm going to do. Let's go back down to the design view. And I'm going to click lookup value, lookup, and I'm working, this is for Empire. I'm going to do a combo box. And the row source, do the infinity, and I'm going to Braxis underscore case underscore 3, and I'll add it in. And I'm going to click Empire, and I'm going to click the part code and the part name. And I'll run. Let's see what we get here. I'll save it. Okay. And then let's go back up to the table view. Save that. Now we're going to go up to the top and save the table. And let's look at Empire for just a minute. Okay. Now I'm going to click on Empire. Oh, I know what I didn't do. I've got three column count here, and I didn't put my columns in, so I need to do that. The column count will be 3. And the column widths, we'll make them 2 inches, semicolon 2 inches, semicolon 2 inches. 2 inches seems to be kind of the default or the go-to for this. I'm going to click OK. The column width probably must be a value. Okay, let me come down here. I did something wrong, obviously. I'm going to do 2 inches, 2 inches, semicolon, 2 inches. And let's see what we got here. There we go. Now let's look at Empire. And we don't know how many units, okay, till we do the drop down. Okay. Now, with the drop down, and I'll squinch this out some. The drop down, if I know the name, and what I'll have to do here is I can maneuver this such, and the drop down menu's there, and it shows me, you know, how many, based on the part code and the part name. We'll stretch it out. Okay? So I know if it's a strut, whatever it is, I know how much to put in there. Got it? So we've done, these are invaluable tools, drop-down menus, for a very simple reason. Okay? This allows us to input data like we want it. Okay? And this is the same as, you remember, we've done some input masks and that type of thing. Well, I'm going to close this off, and we've really done a fantastic job here. We've really improved this table by providing the auto numbers. Okay, so now we have a triple. We really have 3 ways. We really have created 3 primary keys for each record, but we have 1. Okay, and we can go down and do some other things. For example, let's go down to the part code, and is it required? We've got a bound column and allow multiple users edits. So let's do the general field properties. Is it required? And I think we want to put yes. Okay. Allow 0 length. Yes. Duplicates, it's indexed. Duplicates are okay. And so we'll save this. And now we've got to have that part code. If we don't have it, the record won't save. In fact, with the auto number, we don't even really have to worry about that. The record won't save, but we want to make sure. Let's go back down here on part code. Okay, and we'll look at the field names. We've got part code, we got part name. Is it required? I'm going to put yes. The reason being, I want to know it, and I need to have it in there. So I'm adding some data integrity here. All right. So I'm going to close this off, and you see what we did here. Now I'm going to click on this file, and I'm going to save the database as Microsoft Access Database. I'm going to put it on my desktop, and I'm going to call this Access Case 3. And I'm going to call this Access Case 3 102617. So it has its own unique. It will enable the content, and we'll close this off now. I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to try to upload that file. And so I'm going to find Access Case 3. I'll open that up and see if it'll add the file for me. And it did. So we got in here, there's Access Case 3. And this is published. So you can also use this one called Access Case 3 to add for number 3. Any one of them will be fine, but I wanted to show you what we did there. We did some algorithmic thinking in developing those expressions. We built a requirement in. In part 1 of this, we exported a table. We've really done a lot here, okay, in terms of improving the database, okay. And the only thing I can think would be, well, we did the one, on that one query, the Haney Corporation. I'm going to open this back up for a second, okay? Because I'm not real comfortable where we were. Now, I want to go back to the Haney query, and this is the one where we have the order, okay? Now, this is how many units, the unit costs, how much, and the total Winston, okay, and the total Winston components, okay, and these are how many. Remember, we had these ordered, but we use 2 Winston struts, okay, and then we get the total and the total components for each of them. Now, what we could do to improve this, okay, would be to see if we have the component costs, and that is to see if we have enough units to handle them. And in this we could do, you know, we could utilize, we could create the part names. You get the unit costs, total component costs. So they want to know the costs, and we need to know the let's look at it here for a minute at the total Winston costs. Total Winston component cost there is times 5, and the sterling, okay. Now, the one thing we could do, we have the Haney order, right? Well, let's close this off. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I have the Haney order, and I'm going to create a new query. We're just play around here for a minute. We're going to use Abraxas case underscore 3, add. Okay. I'm going to get the part code, the part name. Okay. I'm not going to use money this time. I'm going to put Winston, and I'm going to create an expression called total. We had to do 2 of them. One was the Haney one. They want to do Winston and sterling. So I'm going to do total Winston units needed. And what I'm going to do, so what I do, let's just skip this query for a minute, okay? No, let's save it here for a minute. Total unit would be, it would be, needed would be part name times 5 and let's see here. Let's run this for a second. I've got a parameter name, part name. Oh, it's going to let me go back and do some work here. Part underscore name. I think that's our problem. There we go. Now, why is it giving me an error here? I shouldn't be getting this. Underscore name times 5. And so we get here. Why am I getting that error statement? Okay, maybe because I need to put that in a parenthesis or separate it. I'll put it by 5 times 5. Let's see what we get here. Maybe that's a syntax issue. It's still giving me there. So I'm going to put this. I've got a bracket. Let's see what, that was it. There, no, no, no. That's weird. I'm going to try a parenthesis here. Maybe that'll do it for us. Nope, didn't do it. That is just really strange. Okay. You can hear from me, I'm getting frustrated because this just ought to be working. So I'm going to go back over here and get rid of this thing. Let's just see what I got here. Okay, the struts. Oh, okay. Here we go. Total Winston units needed. And that will be Winston. And we're going to do 5. Let's see what we get here. Ah, very good. That was the problem. Okay. What was happening, I was putting the part name in. The part name is a descriptor, not a number. And so I need the total number of Winston units needed. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing. And I'm going to put sterling. Okay. And I will put total sterling. All right, let me spell total sterling units needed, and that's going to be sterling times 38. There we go. Now we're in good shape. We know how many units we need for sterling. We know how many units we need for Winston. And we're going to get the grand total of units now. And that will be and that's going to be total Winston units needed. That'll be in a bracket. That's going to be total Winston units needed plus sterling units needed. Okay. All right, now we're going to be able to tell how many we need in terms of units for the whole kit and caboodle. Let's see if it plays it nice. So this it does. There's our grand total. That tells us that we need a grand total of 162 struts. 10 for Winston and 152 for sterling. Now we're going to do one final thing, okay? And we're going to get We're going to add one. Okay, and we'll move this jewel over here. And we'll get the units in stock. Now let's take a look. Now I'm going to move this and we'll scramble, we'll squinch these together a little bit so you can see it. And now we have the units in stock. Now we're going to do this. We're going to do one final exercise. And we're going to write one more query, and this is going to be units. We're going to do order units to order. Okay. And that's going to be units in stock minus grand total units required. Now I'll just copy that right there. Okay. Units to order and that would be units in stock minus the grand total units required. Let's do that. Got that expression. Now we'll go downstairs. We're going to come right here and boom. And we'll click OK. Now, okay, and I'm going to go back down here to the design view for a minute. Well, let's just run it. And there it is. And that shows us the grand total units required, the units in stock. And thus, we now know the units to order. Okay. So now we're going to save this as Haney, the Haney order inventory, new inventory needed. That's descriptive enough. And there it is. So now I'm going to close this off. All right. This is access case 3. Now what I'm going to do, folks, is this. I'm going to upload it here again. And it will ask me if I want to replace the other. And I do. Click access case 3, 10.26.17. I'm going to upload it. I'm going to replace. And there it will be for you. Okay? So we have really done some work here. And in what I really like, and I'm going to go down to the desktop view for a minute, is what we've done here is we not only did the Haney order, okay, we figured that out, but we also figured out how much inventory we need to order to meet the need for Haney. As you can see, we need to order 106. Okay. Now we could do something, and I'm going to try. Well, I think we can. I think a normal person could see if we've got 162 required in the units in stock. That's the number of units to order. Okay. So we've done a lot of work with this. I'm going to close this off. And we've uploaded it. You can see my nasty desktop there. And that'll pretty much do it, I think. Let me go to the module for a second, because I had some resources I want you to look at, and I probably gave them short shrift today. I'll go down here to this week. You've got the trend analysis quiz. Let's see, 1026, yeah, the trend analysis quiz. XLS 10 was due, and you should have uploaded it. And this, case 3, a work in progress, which if you want to, you could upload it. Okay. And I don't like it, so I'm going to remove it. But there are other files in there that you can use. Okay. And that'll pretty much do it. Now let's take a look at what's coming out. Okay. Now we're coming to week 10. We're going to start to come to the serious part of all this, and that will be the week of the 11th, November the 2nd, and XLS 11 will be due. Exam 2 Part 1 is coming up. It'll be due. Then I have instructions for you on Exam 2 Part 2. I even provide you 2 examples for Exam 2 Part 2, and then Exam 2 Part 2 where to upload your work. Okay? So you took Exam 1, so you kind of have an idea of what that's all about. Okay? And Exam 2 Part 1 is 25 points. Exam 2 Part 2 is 75 points. So you'll have those coming up, and I have instructions for you. I have a screencast for Exam 2 Part 2, number 1. I have 2 screencasts I've created for you there. And take a look at them. Let's see if we got them going here. Yep, Screencast-O-Matic. All right, that's a nasty product, but hey, it works. So my friends, there you are. So we've worked on access case number 3, and you should upload any of those files I showed you tonight. Well, I'm going to stop the share now, and then stop the recording.